Whether you're caring for a spouse who's suffering from memory loss or a parent whose health is rapidly declining, it's important to know services are out there. Creating New Hope is on a mission to inform, educate, and inspire the lives of family caregivers. Join us as we interview industry leaders and experts in the geriatric care space. Our mission is to create hope in the lives of caregivers.
Hello, Dave. Thank you so much for taking the opportunity to do this. We spoke last week about how families are taking on new roles such as homeschool teacher, caregiver. Young adults are coming back home from college. In some situations, grandma's coming home from the assisted living. All of these dynamics are putting a strain on so many relationships. So I wanted to get your help. So first, can you introduce yourself and tell us how you got started as a relationship coach? And then let us know how you've been able to impact your clients in such a profound way and change their lives.
Sure, I would love to. So, my name is Dave Elliot. My company, Legendary Love for Life. I have been doing this for just about 12 years. I would say the main clients that I work with a lot of single women, helping them understand men a lot better so they can bring out the best in them rather than suffering through the worst. I've also worked with couples. I've had couples who were like right at the edge of divorce, have them pull back their divorce papers and actually get a new lease on things. So, I've kind of looked at it from every different angle, and I understand that these are really trying times with unprecedented challenges and pressures that we've never seen before based on what you're saying. So when you asked me if I would be willing to come on and talk about some just general premises that maybe could make a difference for them, I said, yeah, absolutely, I'd love to do it. So I'm hoping that we can help some people out who may be in a challenging time.
Yeah, it is. It's very difficult, just the family dynamic right now. And you see all of these rumors like, oh, after the coronavirus, divorce is going to spike. And it's like, well, hold on, take a deep breath here, everyone. We can get through this.
Right.
So what is one tip that will make the difference for people as they negotiate these uncertain times?
Well, I think one of the most important things is when you have all these pressures that are in your day-to-day life, I think it's really important to be sort of mindful and focus on like having your end in mind. Like,
Mhm.
how do you want to show up on a given incident or a given situation? Like, what are you committed to? What's most important to you? What kind of person do you want to be? What kind of husband do you want to be? What kind of wife do you want to be? What kind of spouse? What kind of parent do you want to be? And um, I think the other part too is if you're concerned, we're talking about this generation where we're worried about our parents, we're worried about our kids, and we're kind of like here in the middle. Uh, I think it's important to be mindful and like you don't want to panic, your mom, your parents either, right? Because that's a really challenging situation as well. So I think in challenging times, people look to people who are the most certain for leadership, and certainty comes with saying like certainty may not be outside of me, but certainty is always inside of me. And certainty comes from, I know who I am, I know what I'm committed to, I know what's important to me, I know what I value, I know what kind of person I want to be in these challenging times. So there's a lot of ways to do that. I've been doing personal development for 18 years, something like that. um, there's also meditation, there's also mindfulness, there's journaling, there's a lot of ways to do it. I think if you just ask that question, you're way ahead of most people, because I think most people get hijacked by their emotions, and let their emotions get the best of them rather than managing their emotions and saying, okay, what else could this mean? Asking a fundamental question like, I know I'm stressed, I know I'm angry, I know I'm really sad, I know I feel hopeless, but what else could this mean? There's always other opportunities involved. So I think the most important thing people can do is ask, how do you want to show up in this situation, and begin with the end in mind.
Yeah, especially with homeschooling my kids right now, I try to keep in my mind that I am 100% responsible for the relationship that I have with them. So when they do drive me nuts because they're not getting that assignment done, they haven't logged into the Zoom class, the teacher's texting me, if I have to go outside, take a break and go walk a lap or something, I'll go do that before. And I'll say, look, this is what you need to do to show up to be successful. Even when I want to wring their necks and they're just,
Right.
I try to not be led by my emotions. This step outside.
I think that's one of the best things that maybe come out of this too, is I think people come away with a brand new appreciation for teachers and the way, we're struggling with one kid. Can you imagine they've got 25 or 30 and they're
Yes.
managing them, keeping them on task. And oh man,
Yeah.
it's challenging. I remember, going to American Education Week for my daughter, and I've now been able to go for my grandson too. And I just have so much respect for a masterful teacher
Yes.
who can, have a rule with an iron fist in a velvet glove.
Yeah.
Do the both of them. It's amazing.
So what are some other things that people can do when they catch themselves being really triggered, whether it's by a spouse, child, or even a parent who's recently moved in?
Um, so a couple of different things. I think one of the most underrated sentences in all of the relationship sphere is, "You're right, that sucks." Something like that. Uh, because what it does is it puts two people together. If you think about it, most arguments are usually two people face to face. You did this. No, you did this. No, you did. You always do. You never do. These are things you never want to say, always and never, because that's just ready for someone to dig in and say, well, no, what about the time? And it's patently unfair and not true. So I think whatever you can do to get away from face to face and get shoulder to shoulder, so it's two people looking into the future in the same direction, and saying, yeah, you're right, this is a tough situation. What are we going to do about it? How are we committed to showing up? What kind of parents do we want to be? What kind of child or son do I want to be? What kind of neighbor do I want to be? What kind of boss do I want to be? What kind of employee do I want to be? And these are the things that I think will help you walk away from this place of just hopelessness or overwhelm or stress or frustration or anger. So I did think that's a really important aspect of it, is try to find a way to um, get the situation outside of you and team up with the person, whether it's your kids or your spouse or whoever. Be on the same side and say, yeah, I get it, I know what you're saying. It does suck.
Yeah, yeah. And you know what? That's kind of exactly what we do in this business, creating new hope. We literally are walking alongside families and saying, hey, I get this is difficult. And if you don't like the caregiver or the who you're becoming during this season, then let's get some supports around you. So I love that analogy. That is incredible. So what are the 3 Ps that people need to be on the lookout for when they're stressed and overwhelmed?
Yeah. So see, that's when you sort of get hijacked by your emotions again, is you start to take on these 3 beliefs, and these 3 beliefs will, beat you down and bring out the worst in you rather than the best. And the first P is about permanent. You think that this is permanent. Oh my God, we're on lockdown. This is never going to be good again. The economy is melting down. This is happening. Kids are never going to go to school. And you have to believe that it's permanent. It's not permanent. This is a temporary situation. It's a point in time. This is going to move by. I mean, this world has been through, plagues, pestilence, terrible things many, many, many times before, and we've always come out on the other side of it. And quite frankly, a lot of times we come out of it better, in a lot of respects. I think one of the good sides of being locked down is we start to appreciate our families, and we appreciate the simpler things and things that's possible also, again, if you set your mindset that that's what you want to do. That's the gift you want to come away from with. So the first one is permanent. The second one is pervasive, meaning it's everywhere. Everybody's messed up. Everything's a problem. It's everywhere. And last, permanent. No, personal, especially if you take it personal.
Mm.
Uh, if you're saying, like, you're always against me, you never agree with me, or why can't I get you to pick up your clothes? What is it? What am I doing wrong? Some kind of thing in there where you make it personal. It's permanent, it's pervasive. And these are the building blocks of just despair and frustration and anger. And so challenge those three things. It is not permanent. It is not personal. This is just your child who doesn't really want to do his homework right now. This is not a referendum on your worth as a parent or your skill as a parent or whether they love you. Even if they say, I don't love you, kids will do that because kids are naturally figuring out where they can manipulate and how they can get things to happen that they would like to happen.
Yeah.
And if we teach them how to do it, well, then we suffer the consequences for years and years and years down the line. So it's a good idea to teach them now. Like, I understand how you feel, and this isn't going to work because here's the way we're going to do it.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. My family dynamic has certainly changed with my husband home a lot more because now, Master Sergeant's home, so they're not getting away with nothing.
there you
And
go.
it's amazing. And I thought, what? Dad only has to ask you one time, and you guys are just go ahead. But if it's just us here, the three of us, no, 10 times. I'm negotiating with them, so I'm learning more about myself and my relationship with my kids than anything I've ever had in ever. So that
People don't tend to negotiate with a master sergeant for some reason. I'm not sure what that is,
yeah, exactly. But it also shows me that they can rise to the occasion. They can keep their room clean. They can check in and make sure that all of their homework's done. And maybe I baby them a little too much.
That's the nurturing side and the positive side, not babying, nurturing. But I think both of them are important. And I think also our kids are oftentimes a reflection of our expectations too. Like if you think they're going to be willfully disobedient, then they might act out on that, right? But
Yeah.
if if your husband is like, look, this is the way we do it here, let's have this done, you better, this has to be done by lunch or whatever. You put out an expectation and they know what they can get away with, dad.
Yeah.
They also know what they can get away with mom.
Yeah.
And so you're doing, I mean, how great is it that you are actually noticing this in the moment and asking some great questions, which is really what I'm talking about. Like how is it that my kids are a little bit more responsive for dad? What is it that I can learn from this? What can I notice? And I don't think it's a good idea to devalue the nurturing side of it either. I think that's important too, but also notice where it starts to go over the line where you're getting played by them
Oh,
because
yes.
they're smart, right? They're your kids. They're smart.
Yeah. They're at that age too, 11 and 14. So, if they think they can even a little bit cat off, they will.
Absolutely. They'll keep pushing and pushing and, play one against the other. Well, dad said,
Yeah.
let me check with dad, that kind of thing.
That's exactly what I do. I'm like, so what does the program with dad? What are you supposed to do? Go ahead and call him if he's not here.
Yeah, that's
It
great.
definitely have been learning a lot about myself and doing some journaling around that and just seeing what comes up and like,
Oh,
oh,
perfect.
yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think that's the most important thing. I think, to not do it would also be sort of, I'm not shaming or guilting anyone now, but I think it's a bit of squandering an opportunity for, some introspection and sort of learning. And if you want to become a better parent, like you're doing, look at it and see where you can do that. If you want to become a better spouse, want to become a better leader in your family, a better leader in your company, if you've got employees who are out right now. I mean, I think these times are important, and I think we grow in crisis probably more than we grow at any other time. And I think was it that the word crisis in Chinese is danger and opportunity. And so those two things are simultaneously present all the time. So there is danger and risk, but there's also opportunity. So what can happen from this? Like, this is a period of time where, a lot of, there'll be new problems to solve, and new companies will be born, and new companies will get better. And look, I think one of the other really good things about it too is, I think there's going to be a lot of people that don't necessarily have to go back to work to corporate or commercial real estate, because they're finding out that we can actually be productive from home and we can have tremendous savings there. And, what other opportunities are going to come up there that I think can actually, be profound and change the face of business forever, and that's just like tip of the iceberg stuff.
Yeah, I know. And even education too. I had a transition meeting for my son just before we have about 2 more weeks of school left. And the teacher said, Ms. Sevier, Santino's gotten more work done while working at home than he has at this whole entire school year in class. And I thought,
Have you met his drill sergeant dad? His teacher is probably saying, what could I learn from what's going
Yeah.
on at their house?
I know. It's been quite amazing, but yeah, I do definitely see the opportunity, and I do see a lot of silver lining. A lot more grandchildren are calling their grandparents and saying,
Yeah.
"Hey, I want to be connected with you." Last week, I interviewed a young person who reached out to me and started a chapter of Zoomers to Boomers. So where high school kids will go over to their elderly neighbor's house and pick up groceries, no tip, no nothing, just to do it because I'm here to support you. And my
Wow.
heart has been full with a lot of folks really saying, hey, you know what, I know that COVID-19 is putting our seniors at most at risk, and I love my grandma, I love my grandfather, they are very important to me. I need to show up in their life again. So um,
Yeah. And what's interesting? Here's a perspective for you in your line of work too, of working with seniors and getting people into elder care. My mom is not there yet, but she's kind of on that line, right? Um, like the people who are doing this, having this moment of the Zoomer to Boomer thing, where they're doing these things. These are profound moments that get etched into our memory, and pretty much serve the basis of who we become. And I'll say this, like, my mom, the one story that she remembers best about her entire life is, and I've heard it hundreds of times, is coming home and finding out about the attack on Pearl Harbor. It is etched in her memory and it will never go. So this is such a foundational moment in her life. Like, she tells it again and again, and it's nothing that's changed. It's totally in there. And so it helps me understand her at a deeper, more fundamental level. Like, what a for her, it meant her dad went and enlisted in the military the very next day. And so, such a profound moment for her. She remembers everything that happened, like, and she can uh, basically relay it practically like it's a movie, like she's written a screenplay for the scene about how she found out. And so, I mean, every single day there's the potential for these things happening. So if someone, creates this charity, or they become more charitable towards older people or something like that, these are lifelong things that are happening in real time. And I think we all don't always necessarily recognize it. So it's
yeah,
important too.
yeah, that is incredible. Well, let's end on that legendary love for life. Dave, Elliot, how can folks get a hold of you?
Awesome. Well, that's my website, actually, www.legendaryloveforlife.com. And listen, if there's anyone out there who's running into a challenge, I speak to people all the time and just do a free consult, give them some ideas, kind of like what we talked about, and some areas and ways that they can maybe get out of crisis. Because that's the thing here. I think we all have to kind of pull together, and if I can do that as a service, as a value add, you know I'm fortunate. I work from home. I'm still able to do what I do, but I want to, be able to serve people and give back. So if people, want to reach out on my website, send me an email or something like that, I'd be happy to set up a call. My gift to them, and see if we can get them back to a better place. I think we're all in this together,
Yeah,
and not in the same boat, but we're all experiencing similar things. So if I can help someone just a little bit, then I think it makes a real difference. So I'm happy to do it.
absolutely, absolutely. Well, thank you for doing this. Appreciate it.